Good afternoon, and welcome to the Wednesday afternoon conference call with Trusts Unlimited. This is Jim George speaking. I'm the non-attorney spokesman and facilitator for Trusts Unlimited. I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time to join this call this afternoon. However, it's going to be a short one this afternoon. I've been invited to participate in a conference call in Iraq, which began noon our time, so the call is beginning right now as I speak. So I'm going to handle today's call a little differently and, my attempts to get onto that call as soon as possible. Ordinarily, we spend a few minutes talking about the revaluation of the Dinar, the program we've put in place to assist you, and then we go to a Q&A. I'm going to dispense for most of that today, and I'm going to just confine my comments to the situation as it exists in Iraq. I wish I'd have been able to get on this call an hour earlier because then I'd have some really up-to-date information. My ability to get involved in this call has to do with the fact that my nephew did 2 tours in Iraq, and now he is a principal in one of the security firms that escorts high military officials and American diplomats around. He's in the green zone right now, and so I want to get to that call as quickly as I can. Before I do, I just want to talk a little bit about the situation in Iraq. I would also suggest that for our newer callers and those that may call in for the replay over the next 24 to 48 hours, I invite you to listen to the comments I'm about to share with you, but you can go to our call of October 2nd to get information with regard to the program that we've put into place. First, so by way of disclaimer, as I say on all of our calls, we are not purveyor of the dinar and these other currencies. We're not advocates of either the sale or purchase of these currencies, but we share with you the information that we think is relevant with regard to the eventual revaluation of these currencies. With regard to the window, I have for months been saying that January of 2020 makes the most sense. Despite what's going on right now, I still think that's the case. Now, I've always offered as a caveat that there's going to always be an X factor in Iraq. The X factor, as we speak, has to do with the massive demonstrations that are going on in Iraq, orchestrated by the Sadrists. They're protesting the poor living conditions and the unrelenting government corruption. They demand that the currency auctions, all of them, stop immediately, and that dinar begin to raise in value, something we would refer to as a reinstitution. They demand the fair distribution of jobs and housing. Remember, Iraq is transitioning from a central control form of government to more of a private sector economy, and evidently there's been a lot of nepotism involved in jobs and housing. The Sadrists, frankly, have had it with the Mahdi government. They're demanding that the Mahdi government and their ministers resign and that they have snap elections to be monitored by the UN. Now, even if that were to happen, and that's extremely unlikely, that could all be accomplished within the next 90 days if they were, in fact, to have snap elections. I do not think that's what's happening. I think the Sadrists are just finally putting Mahdi on notice. Now, the response from Mahdi's Council of Ministers was a package of reforms. The government plans to fund a lot of reforms utilizing the substantial increase in revenues from the sale of petroleum. These reforms include a fair distribution of jobs and housing, benefits for the disabled, job training with a modest stipend or income for those that are in approved job training programs, generally extended benefits for the general public, and they're offering an open national dialogue to address governmental deficiencies and corruption. Now, what does this mean from our standpoint in terms of the revaluation of the currency in January? Well, of course, this is an X factor, and to be completely fair about it, it is possible that this could postpone the reinstitution of the currency in January. My personal opinion is that will not be the case. My personal opinion is that these protests are actually the catalyst that will compel the government to make the reforms. Mahdi's government faces an existential threat. The Iraqis have basically dropped a hammer and said, clean this up now or you're gone. The Sadrists have the votes to compel a no-confidence vote and to remove Mahdi. So as usually the case with government, unfortunately, you need an absolute threat of removal in order to get the reforms. So again, to me, this looks as though these protests are going to be a catalyst to compel Mahdi and the government in general to get these things done and to stop dragging their feet. Again, I apologize for the shortness of this call, and I suggest individuals go to our call from October 2nd to get more information about the program we've put in place to assist you. And again, there is some Q&A in there as well that might be of interest. You can go to our website, which is trusts with an S, unlimitedllc.com. Our email address is trusts with an S, unlimitedllc@gmail.com. And our phone service is 307-274-4122. Again, thanks so much for listening to the call. I apologize for the shortness of this call, but I want to get to the call in Baghdad as soon as I possibly can. Our next call is scheduled for next Wednesday. Certainly, if something of a dramatic nature were to happen between now and then, we'll try to get out an emergency email and schedule an emergency conference call. Failing that, I should be back next Wednesday, same time, and I very much look forward to the information that I hope to glean from the phone call that's taking place in Iraq right now. So have a great week, everyone. Look forward to speaking with you next Wednesday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Bye-bye, everyone.